Okay, so how you doing? Good evening, good afternoon. Wanted to talk about one really quick thing, debugging. So, in case you haven't, if you've ever gone into Unity, and when you launch the Unity script editor, or you want to edit your scripts, say we're in sprites here, and you go into the script editor, usually you're getting Visual Studio, and if you don't see the debugging tools, you may want to make sure that you have in fact installed the Unity extensions for Visual Studio. So those are, in case you're wondering, if you launch the Visual Studio installer, so if we looked for Visual Studio installer, you get this application right here. Now let's see, if I go to Squirrel in here, no, it's updating. So if I go to Squirrel in here, once it's done updating, fingers crossed, we will see this script here. And if I double click on this, you'll see, okay, Visual Studio 2019. If you've been following, you might say to yourself, hey, you have been running Visual Studio 2017. How did you upgrade to 2019? Well, the thing to do, if you go here and you look in project setting, or excuse me, preferences, the first thing you'll see, external tools. You have the choice. If you have Visual Studio 2019 on your machine, you will see that. If you have Visual Studio 2017 and 2019, let's see, starting with Visual Studio, this might take some time. So first time around, I'm probably tempting fate by doing two things at once, too many things at once here. Let's wait a second here. Come on, Visual Studio. I think this is the first time I've run 2019 directly within. Well, no, that's not true. Okay, we'll give it a second. Ran some updates and things. So let's hope this is just sort of first time running it. It's acting finicky because it likes doing that when I'm making videos. Unfortunately, I just can't crank up time because we're streaming, and that's the joys of doing Twitch. So, I should read trivia or something like that. Today in history. What happened today in history? I don't know. And of course, well, doesn't mind me doing that. I can resize that window. Just can't really do much beyond that, though. It did warn me. It said starting up Visual Studio, this may take some time. Might take some time. And sure enough, it is. It's not. Nobody's lying here. Where is my mouse? There it is. Okay. Transition. I should like make some professor jokes. They're like dad jokes, except worse. Because you know, whatever. Okay. Almost back. We're almost done. Right here. And my mouse has died. Ran out of mouse batteries. No more mouse juice. Okay, how do you want to open this file? Keep using this app, or do I want to switch? Now, I said 2019, so I want to go ahead and use 2019. All right. Automatically saved settings files. Okay, that's fine. That's all good. And here we go. Oh, let's see. What is Visual Studio complaining about? Automatically saved. Okay. Okay. And all right, we're getting there. So, I must have had two things open at the same time here. All right. So now we are back. We have the Squirrel controller code showing here, and we have Visual Studio. Now I could, now that everything's running, I could switch between Visual Studio 2017 2019 if I wanted, but I don't. I don't want to change that. I want to just leave that, and I do want to close this window. There we go. I think I just closed it. All right, so when I do that, scroll controller, it should open. It's doing this thing where it opens up multiple versions of the window. Probably because I just installed. All right, scroll controller and sprites showing scroll controller. So somehow it's trying to open the file and open the studio. But anyway, so if I wanted to set a debug breakpoint, you'll see that now all of my things are correctly installed there, which is good. I'm going to close this and close Unity. And the thing I wanted to point out, I got sidetracked here. You'll see I have Visual Studio 2017 and 2019 installed here. And the thing you might not have, you may need to do this. If you don't have the debugging information and so on, you may have to go into Modify, and you want to look through here, through different workloads, and you will find what you're going to look for is this Game Development C++. Use the full power of C++ to build professional games powered by DirectX, Unreal, and Cocos. That's one. And the other one, actually, maybe you don't need that one. Depends if you're taking Game Dev 1 and 2. But if you're taking just Intro to Game Programming, you want to make sure at least you have game development with Unity, create 2D games, and etc., etc. You want to make sure that that is, in fact, installed, because that's going to help the debugging, editing, and so on. We're not going to worry about already done that. Total space required 0 kilobytes. We're already done. So you don't really need to do that. If it wasn't installed and you check that box, you might have to say modify, install, and so on to make sure that everything is good. But in my case, it's already good. So you do that and close that out. And if at this point now we go over to Unity, should be capable of going right into Unity, and hopefully it'll all be smooth from now on. And we'll do things like go to scroll and hold on, checking for changes. Okay, scroll controller. And we'll just double click on that. Visual Studio should open. And happily, hopefully our workspace just happily opens, and we wind up with, in fact, just a single one. So here is now, we are in the scroll controller, and we can see, hopefully in here, hopefully you get the same. You see the debug ribbon here, which is all of the debug tools that we need. So we can say, specifically, normally what we want to do is say attach to Unity. And if you have multiple versions of Unity running or multiple workspaces running, that may give you a number of different choices, but we're just going to say attach to Unity because you should only have one project connected. And then once you have that, you can decide to set breakpoints, for example. So imagine here I have the space key, and I want to check to see if space has been pressed. So I left click in this column here to set a breakpoint. I'm already attached. That's why all this stuff is, roughly taken care of up there. Go there. Now I can go back over to Unity, start my game, and as the game starts, nothing's happened just yet. All right, I'll try to slow down, walk over here, and I'm going to go ahead and hit the space bar. So what should happen is over here, should have happened. There we go. Hit spacebar. Should have happened is that this input get key got a key, hit space, and hit this line of code in here. So I can now see, look at my transform.up and my rigid body, and see everything that's kind of going on. So I know that that is the code that is actually being hit. Here's transform up down here in my viewer window here. I can see all the things that are particular to that. And I see this squirrel object, and this is the squirrel controller script with its local variables, grounded, squirrel speed, input velocity, and so on. And then I can decide, okay, I'm going to get rid of that breakpoint, and I will cause the code, say, to just continue, right? Go ahead and say continue. And the game continues. Now if I hit spacebar again, it doesn't break because I remove the breakpoint. All right. So if I wanted to see more of what was going on, I could say, okay, well, let's put a breakpoint here, which is going to break when it is grounded. We'll go back to the game, we'll hit play. Now the moment that the squirrel is grounded there, boom, done. Okay, he touched an object with his feet, so therefore he's grounded. Come over here. Yep, that's what happened. Now I can decide to step into the code. Now, this is a slightly newer version than I'm used to. So we will look here. Where did my, normally I see my step into, step over, continue, window, tools. I think it might be options, but in debug I can also do this. Stop debugging, step into, step over. So F11, F10, F11, Shift F11, F11. So I'm going to just say step over F10. So if I hit F10, you'll see that it is executing line by line. So it went ahead, it added the force, and now it's going to check, okay, it didn't run this part here because space key was not pressed, and it's going to continue. And I'm going to go through, there's my update routine. I'm stepping all the way out. And so on and so on. I'll go ahead and press continue. Stopped again because I'm still grounded. So I'm going to go ahead, disable that point, and say continue. Now let's see, customize menu. Let's see. Why don't I see my tool ribbon the way that I'm used to? So Windows, breakpoints, we can see all these things, graphics, graphic debugging, DirectX control panel. Not sure where my, could just be that because everything is sort of just kind of moved around. I'm not a big user of all these. Let's see what I've add or remove buttons. So let's add customize and toolbars, debug, source code control. They're all the normal ones, commands. Okay, well, that's all there, I guess. Am I just missing what they look like now? Well, like I said, easiest thing to do is come here to my debug menu, and I can see that I can still step into, step out, step over, and so on. Maybe they changed that for this particular view. All right, so we'll say continue, and off things go. All right, so there's just a brief way to kind of check out what's going on inside the debugger and to install the debugger or install the Unity tools if you don't already have them installed, and even how to upgrade to Windows 29 or Visual Studio 2019 if you're on 2017 and so on. So hopefully maybe this helped with some things. Take care. See you later on in the week.